910 Sports with Icon E, the podcaster who speaks his mind. Not afraid to go against the grain. The podcast that will make you think while discussing the latest topics in the NBA, NFL, college football, basketball, and more. Giving the latest interviews and spotlighting the youth of today and tomorrow and the coaches who put it all together while building championship programs.
Okay, what's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Icon E. And I got my co-host here, the great Jacob the Great. You know what I'm saying? How you doing, my man?
What's up, man? What's up? Jacob the Great in the building. And we about to chop it up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So before we came on air, you were saying, matter of fact, everybody, this is 910 Sports. This is episode 4. So, but yeah, anyway, anybody in advance. First of all, I want to thank God this morning for waking us up, and in advance, thank everybody who listens to this. So before we came on air, you was asking me a question. So throw that question at me that you was asking.
Who's in trouble the most? Ohio State Buckeyes or the Clemson Tigers?
I would say Ohio State because for what I seen yesterday, in the last couple of games, their defense is to be desired. Like they defense, they don't they can't stop a nosebleed. Last couple of weeks, Minnesota is not nowhere near them talent wise, and especially in the running game. I know both running backs were considered top running backs, but these running backs are doing whatever they want, and they haven't even gotten to the meat and potatoes of their conference or whatever. And they had let 2 running backs run wild on them the last couple of weeks. And when you're an underdog and you're going against a team that you don't supposed to beat, the one thing that you may have in your pocket is if you have a great running game where you can slow the game down and you can dictate the game with a running game, can make a difference in a win or a loss. So I would say definitely Ohio State. I think Clemson's conference is going to help them be able to navigate and help them get over the hump more than Ohio State. I think Ohio State got too many difficult games to be able to get over the hump in their conference. So that's what I believe.
Well, what I do believe about Ohio State is people are used to a high-power offense from Ohio State, and they're used to a quarterback that can make good decisions. So I just want to know who the quarterback coach is, because the quarterback didn't have a lot of accuracy, and there was about 4 plays that was overthrown, and they could have went for touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And so, and then on the defense side of the ball, man, your DBs was playing, off a little bit. And when I say playing off, they was playing back too far. They gave the receiver too much breathing room. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to give a receiver that much breathing room. And the defensive coordinator didn't make any adjustments as the game went on. As the game went close, and you got to go to a 5-5, a 5-4, a 5-2, 5-3, or you got to make some adjustments. And I don't even understand why people don't use the defense that has the rover coming up. The rover might play outside linebacker. The rover might play, inside linebacker. The rover might play quick end or strong end. Mm-hmm. So they don't have the rover coming up anymore. And with Clemson, I just think they're in a rebuilding stage. As far as DJ was one of the top rated backs in the league, but I just want to people to understand, man, it's a lot of pressure on him. Like coming behind Trevor Lawrence, as Trevor came behind Deshaun Watson, it was still a lot of pressure on him as well, because we all know that he wasn't as a mobile quarterback as Watson, but we all know Trevor had a cannon. So we haven't even seen DJ's arm, because we only seen the little flip passes 10, 12 yards. So we don't even know if he can throw the ball down the field, 50, 60 yards. So Clemson got to do better to design some plays for him, man. And And if you got an O line that's not blocking for him, hey man, you got a 53-man roster. So therefore, you know, you got to rotate these offensive linemen out. And a lot of people don't understand. Michigan did that a lot, man.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan did that a lot when they had Desmond Howard. They used to rotate the offensive line out, and it worked for them. So, you know, that's all I have to say about those two teams.
Yeah, the thing I would say too, I think that the coaching has to be better, because what I also feel like these coaches are, some of them don't seem to understand how to call these plays or get their players in the right position or whatever. So I think that's a problem too. A lot of these teams, coaches, like when I was watching the Miami game yesterday, um, all that talent all over the field, and you can't get players open, and you got Derek King running for his life. And then, like you said, the Ohio State game, the defensive coordinator never made adjustments. You got some of the top players in the country, you know, top recruiting class in the whole nine. You the number 3 team in the country, and you playing like you the underdog. You know what I mean? You playing a base defense the whole time. You know, and they felt like they seemed like they had the blitz on every possession, and they was even saying like, why is Ohio State blitzing every single time? Most time when a team blitzes that much is because they feel like they're the inferior team, like they're the team that has to be desperate and to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that Ohio State should have been playing like that. And then when you dealing with a young coach, I mean a young team, a young quarterback, you have to make it easier for them to be able to navigate. You can't put so much. The guys are freshmen, and I think that's what we seen across college. I mean, college football across the board. We seen a lot of teams with young quarterbacks. So we're getting a lot of play in college football that looks a little off because of we have so many new quarterbacks. You got to think. You got Ohio State, you got Clemson, you got Georgia, you got Alabama. So you got a lot of new quarterbacks across the league. That's good. It's going to take some time for these teams to, and then early. And if you playing these big major games early, and a lot of it because of ratings. When you play these major games early in the season, it does make a difference because you don't have a time to kind of get your legs up under you, like you want to. So I think that's another thing too, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it takes some time. So you may see some early upsets early in the season. So depending on who you lose to, like I said, Ohio State is more in trouble than Clemson, because of the conference they play in. But if Clemson loses another game, they're really going to be in trouble because, like, if Ohio State pretty much loses another game, depending on who they lose to, how close the game is, they're going to look at the strength of their conference and say, "Oh, they good." But if Clemson loses a game to somebody in conference, let's say like a Boston College or Wake Forest or one of these lower Duke or somebody, then they're going to be completely out because it's like, okay, well, you know, y'all in a conference that pretty much, if you look at the top 5 conferences in football, ACC is probably at the bottom right now.
That's what they say, but that's what they say. So I'm gonna chime in on about that, bro. Like when people say that about the ACC, I'm for that Atlantic Coast Conference. I'm gonna tell you that now. I rock the Atlantic Coast Conference. So this is what I'm gonna say about the SEC, the Big Ten, all of them schools, man. The ones from the ACC, like you can look at the Hall of Famers that came from the ACC, and you can look at the Hall of Famers that came from a lot of the other conferences. So people act like the ACC don't put players in the NFL, and they act like the ACC don't got plenty of Hall of Famers. And so when they said it about the ACC, I said, okay, I understand that. But at the same time, man, stop acting like we ain't got no Hall of Famers, man. Like the ACC is just a nerd football league, man. People kid me, the conference week. Whose fault is that? You know what I mean? Yeah. So was the conference week when we beat Alabama twice, in the national championship? So was the conference still week then? You know,
Yeah.
was the conference week when Deshaun Watson annihilate the whole college football league, like the NCAA. So was the conference week then? So what you think about when people talking about the conference week, bro? But
Well,
you can still win a national championship, but your conference week, that don't make sense.
because I understand what you're saying, but what they're looking at as they're building it because off of the money. So really, they're looking at the money of it because so SEC, the Big Ten makes the most money probably across the board when it comes on the football side. So I think
Mhm.
that's what the powers to be looking at. So they're gonna build up who they want to build up. That's why every year Ohio State is always there, and every year you got SEC, you got 4 or 5 teams because even those bottom feeding teams in the SEC fill up stadiums. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all they got to do. In Kentucky, what else you gonna do? You ain't gonna do nothing else but watch college football in Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? So that's all you got. You know, some of
It,
these
de-
other places.
it
You
depends
know,
on what city you're in Kentucky. If you in Louisville, there's plenty to do.
well, I'm just saying, but if you in Lexington, you
Yeah,
watching football,
yeah,
basketball, college
yeah,
basketball. But what I'm saying
right,
is, most of these small these football conferences or whatever, that's what they're looking at the money. That's why ACC is at the
right,
low bottom. But you got to think on the flip side, in ACC and college basketball, we top dog. It with Duke,
uh,
Carolina, all them teams, we top dog. And then the fact that Miami and Florida State or teams to be desired where they're not playing at the capabilities they supposed to be playing at. You know what I'm saying? And like you was asking me earlier when you said you said somebody asked you what happened to Florida State. Oh shoot, what happened to Miami? You know what I'm saying? What happened to Florida? And Florida is in the SEC. You don't ask them. They don't ask them same questions all the time. And Florida hasn't won big since Tebow.
so
You know.
so this is what I'm gonna say about Florida State. I can tell you what happens to them. I can tell you that they didn't follow the module of Bobby Bowden, right? Even
Mm-hmm.
his son didn't follow it. So if you look at the module of Bobby Bowden and how he recruited and where he recruited, he recruited in South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Georgia, some parts of South Carolina, Texas, and California.
Mm-hmm.
So what people don't know about Texas, Texas have been playing football year round since we was like, man, I'm talking about even when it's not in the season, the players out there still play in some type of like like a youth flag football league. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Until the season rolled around. It's just like Florida with baseball. People that because I used to live in South Florida, so these young guys that I be seeing coming out of these high schools, like I was like well deserved because they've been playing baseball year round since they was like 7, 8 years old, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So but with Florida State, man, I don't think that they like even if you look at how they run their offense, Bobby ain't run his offense like that, bro. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Bobby ain't run his offense even on defense, man. He ain't run his defense like that. Like a lot of these new coaches don't pay attention to what make the old coaches win. Okay, I'm gonna give you a prime example. Like Dallas, like the Cowboys, like how you have Jimmy Johnson, they had a
Mm-hmm.
coaching system. How you had Bill Walsh have a coaching system. So my thing is, a lot of these like Miami, man. Listen, when I was a youth and Miami, man, boy, listen, bro. You used to love to see Michael Irvin play. You used to love to see Ray Lewis play. You used to love to see these guys because it was excitement, man.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I understand by living down there and knowing some people that was into that coaching and that college coaching world, they told me that, man, that the coaching system has changed because Miami is multicultural, so it's a lot of politics. And
Yeah.
if people don't know nothing about Miami, the Latino community run Miami.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't care. Yeah, so
Yeah, that's
what?
just like in
what
Orlando. Orlando the same. I stayed in Orlando for 5 years, and the Spanish community pretty much run Orlando. You know what I mean? They're like how in Atlanta where it's dominantly the like if you're in the city of Atlanta, it's mainly blacks. Well,
Right.
that's how Orlando is. Orlando, the restaurants, the barbershops, most of the stores. It's either the Spanish community or the Haitians got a big voice out there too,
Right.
or whatever. So that's what that runs that. So yeah, yeah, yeah. But see, the thing about it too, also, with Miami for a while, once they kept flipping coaches and changing up coaches so much, they stopped getting the Florida recruits, those Miami homegrown players. So
You
the
talking about like
pride,
Edwin James. Talking about like
yes,
Edwin
yeah,
James and all them boys.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, they played for that school down there. What's that? It's that one school. It's that one high school. They just said it yesterday. It's one high school in Miami that's big. Northwestern, I think it's named
Yeah.
Northwestern High School.
Yeah.
So they're real
Right.
big for getting a lot of their recruits in that Miami area. So what happened was the pride. It wasn't the same pride to play at Miami because some of them players was coming from other parts of the country. So they didn't understand the culture of Miami. So you didn't get that same I'm coming from the mud attitude or whatever. And that's what I'm seeing now. I don't see that hunger and that same, I really want it bad from these players now. Like them 80s and 90s Florida State team, you could tell them guys, look, this is my only shot to make it to the NFL, this to make a name for myself. I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to get there. And these guys nowadays, it seems like once they get there, they don't put the same effort or whatever. Like yesterday, I was watching Miami against Appalachian State, and don't get me wrong, Appalachian State is considered the David of college football. Ever since they beat Michigan in '07, and then think about Appalachian State, they're like 65-15 in the last 5 years. So they have a great program or whatever as far as college football is concerned, being in their situation. But they out physical Miami yesterday. Miami won the game because of just at the end they were just a little bit more talented and they just caught a couple of breaks. But if you got to think, then if you look at it, they out physical. Like when you get out physical by a team, then you basically the weaker team to me. You know what I mean? Because and that's kind of what happened. That I'm seeing a lot of these teams get upset that they getting out physical by some of these teams that they shouldn't be getting out physical by, and
But
that's a problem because, huh?
whole icon before you go a little further. But as we progressed when we was playing football, right?
Mm-hmm.
And coaches said there's gonna be some kids faster than you. There's gonna be some kids stronger than you.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't really outpower those people, but you can outsmart. So
Mm-hmm.
it makes me seem if they was more physical and more bigger than Miami, so there had to be some type of football IQ that made the coaching staff of Miami call some plays they would normally call and had these guys to really think smarter to, maneuver around their strength and power of Appalachian State. So don't you really think that that's a different level with a football IQ?
Well, the football IQ, I give you that, but throughout the game, the commentators were saying like, look, Miami's offensive line is probably outweighs like Appalachian State defensive line or whatever, probably about 50, 60 pounds. So they're big
Mm,
boys. Their average weight was 325 across the board of the offensive line.
okay.
Miami pretty much Miami athlete wise, there's a couple of good guys on Appalachian State you could see was up to snuff because one guy he actually I think transferred from Miami. He played in Miami. He played at that Northwestern high school, Noel. So he one of the running backs. The running backs was definitely on the level they could have played in any other college. So whatever reason why they're not at a bigger college, maybe grades or something, whatever. But some of them other guys, you could see it was a couple of guys that was on the Miami level as far as talent wise. But across the board, no. And then my thing is they had to beat them IQ wise because like physically, like I said, it wasn't about necessarily them beating them talent wise. They was out physically them. That's like if you're watching a basketball game and you say, okay, I know this team is better than this team, but they right now they getting outplayed on a physical level because they didn't come to play. Because being out physical sometimes is a mindset. It's just like playing hard. It's like getting a rebound. Going after a rebound or playing defense is more mental than it is physical. You know what I'm saying? It's a want to. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was getting. That's what I'm getting out of a lot of college football right now. Is these teams are coming in thinking, "Oh, we made it because we the big dog," but they taking these underdog teams for granted. Because you got to think too, a lot of these teams coming back with players that got an extra year. So a lot of these players
Yeah,
are older than they normally would be because they got an extra year. So now you
cause of
got that
COVID.
experience factor too.
Uh-huh.
You
Uh-huh.
know what I mean? Because Appalachian State was a very experienced team, so I give them that. They had more, like you said, that probably the IQ was there because they was a very experienced team. Because a lot of them got that extra year, so some of them probably was already 21, 22, 23 years old coming into the game. You know what I
And
mean?
versus when you got somebody coming straight out of high school, but they're two freshmen starting,
Mm-hmm.
that's a little edge. But what I will say about Appalachian State, and I've been following them because they recruit a lot in South Carolina, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So what I will say about them, uh, a lot of players that transfer from like Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia to Appalachian State, they transfer because at Appalachian State it's like family origin. It's homegrown there, so it's like there's not a lot of politics.
Mm-hmm.
There as it would be at Ohio State or Miami or Clemson or Purdue or Iowa or Michigan or UCLA. So a lot of the smaller schools, that's Division One. There's not a lot of politics there, man, because when you got people that's on the alumni board and stuff like that and donating, $50,000 here, $100,000 here. If they say something, the school gonna listen.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got somebody that donated $50,000 to the school for the last 25 years, that person got
Mm-hmm.
some say so. They gonna listen
Exactly.
to him. You know what I'm saying? Because he's somebody that donate frequently, repeatedly. So, or she's somebody that donate frequently or repeatedly. So, it is politics all over the place when it comes to college. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
that,
So anyway, I guess now we can get into this NFL. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
okay.
we could tap into this first game from Thursday night. For me, what I took away from it, I was actually impressed. I'm a Washington football fan, so let's get that out the way. So for me to be impressed by the Cowboys says it's a lot for me to give up. I ain't gonna lie, it's a lot for me to give up. So, but I was impressed by what I seen from the Cowboys or whatever. Because I already broke down each division. We'll get into that in a second. But I broke down each division, each conference, so who I think going to make it in the end. But what I seen the other night, because I thought Dallas was going to get the brakes beat off of them, not just because Tampa Bay was a better team, but because Dak Prescott hadn't played in a whole year or whatever. Um, He's about to come back up in a minute. I lost connection. Yeah, there you go. But yeah,
You
because
good?
Dallas, because yeah, because Dak hadn't played in a whole year, so I thought he was gonna come in rusty, or whatever, and it was gonna take him. By the time he got his footing and got himself acclimated, that Tampa would be up, 28-3 or something like that. Now both teams' defense, now Cowboys defense, I will give them this much credit. They created a lot of turnovers that they wasn't doing last year. But both defenses look like because in football, normally your defense will show up if you got a good defense, it'll show up early and carry you early in the season faster than your offense will. Sometimes your offense take a few games to get going. But both these defenses look like they need y'all need to go back to the drawing board because I know it's a talent on both sides, but y'all wasn't coming close to stopping each other. You know what I mean? Like when y'all was
But
getting stops, it was off of
but
mistakes. Huh?
right. But this is what I'm gonna say about defenses, man. Defenses is got to have chemistry just like offenses. So when you have, because it's a lot of new players on the Cowboys defense, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
like it's a
yeah.
lot of it's a few new players in Tampa Bay secondary. So when those other guys been playing together for like,
not the starters though.
But when those other guys have a new cat coming in, just like Carson's is the new linebacker, right? A rookie linebacker for the Cowboys. You ain't gonna get the production out of him that you got for like a Sean Lee when he was healthy. You know what I'm saying?
Or Van Noyes. What's the name? The other linebacker, Van Noyes, Van something.
Van Noyes, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think with the defense, it takes a couple games too, man. It really takes a couple games, and then, man, I don't think there was enough. I don't think defenses mix it up enough, bro. In college, NFL, or high school, I think they stay in the same setting too much, bro. The same
I think
setting
they get
too
scared.
much. You know what I mean?
They're scared to get. I think that defensive coordinator's scared to look bad, so he's scared to get burnt out there. You know what I'm saying? He don't want his defense to look crazy, look suspect. Because you gotta think, last year Dallas's defense was getting burnt a lot. You know what I'm saying? All over the field. So they, that's how they had to bring in a new defense coordinator because they was getting ate alive a lot. Now Michael Parsons, the thing with him, watching him. I think what his biggest problem was the other night, he was just he new to the game. He was just putting a lot of bad positions as far as on the field because I think Tom Brady was kind of exploiting him because he knew he was a rookie, so he could get him matched up against a tight end and things of that nature and get him out of position. And I think that's what
Brady
when you play. Yeah, when you play Michael Parsons' position, the last thing you can be is that linebacker to get put out of position because it'll blow up the whole defensive play if he's out of position. Because if he out of position, if you're running the ball, they're gonna run the ball right down your throat. Or if you're throwing the ball especially to a tight end or a running back, you know what I'm saying? If you're out of position, that tight end running back gonna get a big gain off of him. So I think that's gonna be his issue, at least his first season, is he gonna make a lot of plays. But he gonna be at times he gonna be like, man, what was he doing? Why was he over there? Or what was he looking at? You know what I'm saying? Because when you just like a rookie quarterback, rookie defensive player, whether you're a corner, a linebacker, whatever safety, you're gonna get exploited at times because you just ain't gonna understand the nuances of the game. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever.
And then I believe that when you're a linebacker and you got to go up against Gronk a big boy. He's a big boy, man. And it's like it's like these tight ends, man. You ain't gonna find these tight ends under 6'5" and 280 or they be 6'6" and 277 and they be like solid, just like if we remember correctly, Jeremy Shockley, when he first came in the league, he brutalized people, bro.
Yeah.
Big boy.
Yeah.
Miami Hurricanes product. You know what I mean? Big boy. And so these linebackers might be 6'1", 255, but these tight ends, man, and people smart. Brady bring in a blocking tight end and put on him on the left side and put Gronk as that receiving tight end on the right side. So when that blocking tight end is there, he kind of like open up the lane for Gronk and Brady just hit him with that 10-yard fly pass, which he scored 2 touchdowns like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's different, man. So but I think the Cowboys, I think they'll be all right this year, man. I think that, people was counting Dak out already. People was thinking, the Cowboys gave Dak this money, man. What the hell they gave him all that money for? But I think that Dak a real humble fella, man. And, he don't really say much. So a person that don't say much like that, you can tell they study the game a lot. And so I think with him being out, it really gave him time to reflect on what has happened previously and what he could do better and how he can reiterate that he's the best quarterback. Cause even Tom Brady said himself, he's like, this was an amazing first game. I had no idea that was going to come out the way he did. You know, so when the GOAT impressed, that say a lot, man.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is this, like I said, I don't give Dallas a lot of credit, but I always I like Dak pretty much from the time I first seen him play. My only problem with Dak is Dak Dak got to this thing where the sun got to be shining bright, the birds got to be chirping, everything got to be perfect for him sometime to overcome and to win. Like he'll get the numbers, but if Zeke having an off game or Amari, it's like, bro, you got to figure out how to still win when your best players aren't necessarily showing up. You got to figure it out and make a play to get them over the hump when those things are going down. Now, I will say this. Tampa, I ain't gonna lie, I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I was one of them teams like, oh man, they brought all 22 back. They gonna go undefeated. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. But after watching this last game and noticing a couple of things, I watch this. I look at the small things. For one, I think that they brought all 22 starters back, but I don't think Tampa Bay is as deep across in behind those players as people think they are. So I think it's hard to stay injury free for 2 straight years, especially when you fight for a Super Bowl and everybody coming for your neck. And you've seen a couple of neck injuries already in the first game. So I think that they're gonna get tested even more than they did last year. And Brady gonna do his thing, but I think some of those other players may drink their Kool-Aid a little bit, and I think they're gonna get caught at least 2 or 3 times. So I put them at right now like 15-2. You know what I'm saying, or whatever as far as record wise.
Well, let me ask you this: do people say this just because Tom Brady is QB, or do they say this because the whole Tampa Bay team is really good like that? So okay, if you put somebody else down in Tampa, say you put Aaron Rodgers down in Tampa, would they still be as good as they are with Tom Brady at the QB? I'm gonna say no.
No, and that's what I said. They're gonna Tom Brady. He'll get wins in moments where you probably like, oh, they should have lost that game, just like the other night. I don't know at the end of the game, like maybe Rodgers could have got that last drive and got him in field goal position, maybe not. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, Brady gonna overcome some of their flaws or whatever. I will give him that or whatever. But I'm just saying that I just think that when they go against like a Rams or certain teams that they play throughout the season may catch them slipping just because they're going to have an off game or two, especially on the defensive end. I think they're going to have a couple of off defensive games because you got to think even last year that they didn't really come on defensive wise until in the last 5 or 6 games of the season. So they weren't like they was dominating on the defensive end early in the season. It took them halfway through the season before they got to that point. And then you got to think about the greatest defenses of all time. You got the Baltimore Ravens 2000. You got not 2000, 2000 and was that 2000? No, that was 2000 and what, 5? No. Yeah, 2005 I think it is. And then you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 01. You got the Bears 85 and 86. You got the Steel Curtain. So you got like the 4 defense, and then those defensives was only considered great for 1 or 2 years. And we talking about the greatest defense of all time. The Bears defense actually after they won a championship had better numbers than the team that won, but they didn't win, so they wasn't considered the greatest defense of all time because they didn't win a championship. But and the Ravens with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and them boys was only had like 2 or 3 great like dominant seasons or whatever as great as they were. So if you're looking at Tampa Bay, they're a good defense, but they're not great. They're not like you can't, they're not. They showed that the other night. They're good enough to hold down the fort, but maybe even help them get back to a championship. But they can be exploited. They can be overcome. You know what I mean? So I think Washington. I think Washington defense is going to be better than theirs this year. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
well. I'm
I
not
know
gonna
you're a
comment
Dallas
on
fan.
that, man,
Yeah, I
because
know you're a Cowboys fan,
no,
but yeah.
I try to, I try to, I try not to talk about them that much, man, because R.I.P. to my pops. He was a diehard Washington fan, and my
Mhm.
mom was a diehard Washington fan. So our household so divided. Like my mom and dad Washington fans, my sister a Rams fan, I'm a Cowboys fan, my baby brother Cowboys fan, and my middle brother Chicago Bears fan. So it's like
Okay.
war around here, bro. During football season, it's war around here. So, but
Yeah.
this is what I'm gonna say about Brady, man. Evan, Evan Rod, like when Brady was leaving, Bill, Bill Belichick, man, Brady did it with so much class, so much poise. He's just
Yeah.
like, I just feel like it's time for me to move on. And Aaron Rodgers was making all this fuss and stuff, and people in the locker room said you really can't play with him. Like he don't want you to say nothing to him, and just like Randall Cobb said, he much rather play with Brett Favre. He said Brett Favre
Oh
brought something
yeah.
different. He was hard nosed, he was tough. He's
Oh
like,
yeah.
man, you can drop a whole motor on Brett Favre, and Brett Favre gonna get up and talk and tell you, is that all you got? I said, yeah, because he's
Hmm.
a hard-nosed farm boy. And like I tell people, the Manny boys, while they dad was playing football, they was on a farm with their granddad, man. So them boys know how to use their hand as well, man. You know what I mean? So
Well, see,
I
I'm
think
gonna say
Aaron
this
Rodgers
though.
is a crybaby.
I'm gonna say this.
He's a
If
crybaby.
if just off of the fact that times when Brady has lost games where he wouldn't go all across the other side of the field and shake hands with the other quarterback, especially if it was an elite quarterback or a quarterback that he like Nick Foles. I think the last time they played Nick Foles, he went when he went he, and they beat him. He wouldn't shake his hand, and I think it was a couple other quarterbacks he wouldn't shake their hand after a loss. I believe if Brady had a career sort of like let's say with Aaron Rodgers, where he was winning but not winning in like a lot of championships, I think you would see that you would see him act more like Aaron Rodgers than what he acted now. But he's had so much success that he would look foolish and crazy if he showed that. Because some players are just they don't know how to lose. They just sore losers, or they don't carry the losses the way they carry the wins in the same classy way. But I just think that because, like I said, the way Brady acted off of just regular season losses, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, and won't shake players' hands and all that other crazy stuff after a game, after L shows you he can be just as much of a baby as Aaron Rodgers. It just don't come out as much because of the fact that he's won so much or whatever. So, but
So
I
so
guess
so
we can,
our
huh?
our so what we gotta discuss, who is really the GOAT? Brady or Belichick? Belichick. Who's really the GOAT? Okay, we can say Bill Belichick had one bad season after Brady left, but
Mhm.
but does that define his football IQ? I would say not.
Well, I would say this. At one time I gave Bill Belichick probably like 70-30. After the championship, I still would say from this both successes side, I think one needed the other. So I would say it's more like 50-50. I think both of them needed the other one to have the success they had. I don't think if Brady wouldn't have played for Belichick, if he'd have played for other coaches, he wouldn't have won as many championships or whatever. I don't really believe that. Or what? And then also the division.
So
We know the AFC East been garbage for most of Brady's career. If he'd have played in one of these other conferences, let's say if he'd have played like in the let's say the NFC Central where you had the Steelers every year, or you had like or the NFC West, or even if he was in the North or what. I just think if he'd played in other divisions, he wouldn't have just been racking up wins and championships the same way. You know what I mean? Because you got to
he
think
still
a
would have
lot of
beat
them
them, bro.
super
He still would have beat them.
a lot of them Super Bowl teams he was on.
Yeah, he still would.
The defense had like he had top 10 defenses. You know what I'm saying on a few of them championships. Most of them championship runs had top 10 defenses. So let's say if you'd have been in Green Bay, where Rodgers' defense, he only had a top 10 defense like one year, the year he won the Super Bowl. other than that, he's had like mid-level or lower level defenses. If Brady had to play with that every year, I don't think he would have won no championship if he had defenses that was like, average at best. You know what I mean? I don't think he would have won that many championships.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But
I just think that if Brady win another championship this year, I think that's really going to reiterate what eyes going to be on Bill Belichick. People going to be looking like,
Oh yeah. But I still think it's harder for Bill Belichick to try to go off and try to rebuild or retool the ring in his situation, because Brady just jumped and said, okay, I'm gonna jump to a team that's already super talented. They just got the wrong quarterback. So Tampa Bay had talent, they just had the wrong quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the Patriots, pretty much when he left, they was an empty. And that was Bill Belichick's fault, because Bill Belichick got so arrogant, he felt like he could win with any and everything. He could just feel like, oh, I could throw anybody out there and win. And then what happened was he depleted the whole, especially the offensive side of the ball. He let everybody ride. And so by the time Newton got there, he was playing with dang near college players that shouldn't have been in the league, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. That's what he was playing with. So I think that and then Bill Belichick had to swallow his pride. That's why he went out and spent all that money to get them players he got in this year.
And then, so this is what I believe. I believe Bill Belichick, he set Cam up for failure, bro. And I'm gonna tell you why. You wanted Cam to come in and be this Superman when Cam had no supporting cast at all, bro. Defensively, offensively, special teams, you let everybody go because everybody seen that you act like you didn't care, that you could do everything your own. So a lot of people felt the same way that Brady felt, so they left.
Yep, that's true. That's
so,
true.
But
see, I would say, okay, so I'll say next we can break down these divisions and who we think gonna win win the division and win the conferences and go to the Super Bowl. So we can start off. You want to being me and you Washington Dallas fan, you want to go do them last, NFC East last, so you want to do the AFC first and then come back to them.
It don't make no difference.
Okay.
It don't make no difference with me, bro.
We're gonna start off the AFC then. We're gonna stay out. We're gonna leave our team. We're gonna leave our team for the last.
But I will say this before I get started. I don't think y'all made a good quarterback choice at all. Not with the high power offensive players that y'all have. No.
I think what it was we trying to build a culture. So I think what happened was, instead of us putting all our eggs in one basket, we built from the draft, and I think we just we didn't see quarterback wise what we was picking at the quarterback that we wanted. You know what I'm saying? Because by the time we got the pick in the draft, all the quarterbacks that were considered top quarterbacks were gone. So for us, we felt like we could just continue to build.
This is what I don't understand, bro. Cause a quarterback is not drafted on the high tier first round and second round. Hell, Brady was a 6th round pick. You know what I mean? So therefore, when it comes to organizations, man, I think they overlook a lot of great quarterbacks. Even a lot of great quarterbacks that come out of HBCU, man, they don't really look at them, man. And that's the problem I have with the NFL front office, the general managers and the coaches. Like, they don't study teams, man, before the draft. They just look and see who's coming out the draft, which I think that you're limiting your team from getting great players. Even if it's from a Division II or Division III school, there's still some great athletes in those schools as well, man. So I think a lot of teams and limit themselves, man.
You're right, but I think what we was looking at, I think that what Ron Rivera was looking at, he wanted to bring a veteran in, because we're a very young team for the most part. So I think he wanted to bring a veteran presence in to kind of stem the tide, to make sure everything stayed kind of on par. because I think if you'd brought a rookie quarterback in with this team, I don't know right now if he could, because he looking like, look, this year after last year, we got to at least have 2 years in a row where we make the playoffs. Because that's the one thing for us. Like it's funny because my family, my kids and my wife, they be making jokes about the fact that we she always make fun of me about my team being sorry or whatever, just get on my nerves sometimes. But I said, well, think about it. We're not as bad as people make us out to be because we do make the playoffs at least once every 4 years. I said, we just can't make it consistently. I said, our problem is we're not consistent, but we do make the playoffs. If you look at our history, we make the playoffs at least every 4 or 5 years. There's some teams out there don't even do that. So I said, so we are, or whatever. So I think with that, after last year, it was kind of like, we weren't even, I don't think we was even really thinking we were going to make the playoffs last year. So that was like an anomaly. Like one of the things like,
now y'all wouldn't expect.
No. So for us to
y'all
make
wouldn't
it there,
expect to make the playoffs last year.
Yeah. And then we went out and then we see what we had. We was like, okay, let's try to keep this thing going and see if we can make it 2 years in a row. And we know Ryan Fitzpatrick ain't the future. Now, who knows? Maybe by the trade deadline, we go out and trade for one of these quarterbacks that, one of these backup quarterbacks that should be a starter or could be a starter, and then maybe help that, or maybe we have to throw a Heineke in to kind of like keep things going. We'll figure that out. But I think if our defense plays true to form and plays at least halfway like as good as they did last year, maybe a little bit better, that'll help us win some games that we shouldn't lose, that we should lose or whatever. But so I will say that. But anyway, I don't want to run out of time. So this is what I got. I got the Bills winning their division. I got Kansas City, of course, winning theirs at 13-4. I got Bills at 13-4. I got the Titans winning their division in the South, 11-6. I got the Ravens at 12-5. And then for my wild cards, I got the Browns, the Pats, and the Steelers. So that's what I got going, or whatever. Then I got Kansas City and the Bills in the championship game, and I got Kansas City going back to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? That's what I got right now.
Okay. So, you say you got the Bills winning. All right. You got Kansas City winning. All right. You got Baltimore. And you say you got what? The wild card is going to be what? The Steelers and the Browns?
I got the Steelers because this year you get three wild cards because 7 teams instead of the 6.
Yeah.
So I got the Browns, the Patriots, and the Steelers as my wild card teams. So that's what
experts in the NFL say. This is what experts in the NFL say. They said that it'll be the Browns and the Packers in the Super Bowl, but the Packers will win the Super Bowl by 17.
First of all,
what do you think about that analysis?
I don't believe in Baker Mayfield like that. I think Baker Mayfield he looked good last year partly because they designed a certain offense where they ran the ball a lot to keep him from having to throw the ball so much for them to win. So I don't believe Baker Mayfield can get you to a Super Bowl. That's just me. As far as Green Bay got too much going on.
So back up. I'm gonna say this. Who was not good at all to me and got to the Super Bowl? Trent Dilfer got to a Super Bowl. The Ravens ex quarterback I thought was always trash, and he got to the Super Bowl. Trash.
But Baltimore had the number 1 defense in the world at the time too. You know what I'm saying? That's the defense I'm talking about. That's one of the defense I'm talking about. They had the best defenses on the planet at the time, or whatever. Because I think that's when Trent Dilfer made it there. That's when I think Shannon Sharp was like on his last leg there still. So when they made it, they had the worst. Yeah, they had the worst. They had the best defense on the planet. So he didn't have to do nothing. All he had to do was not make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? They were beating teams like 13-3 and 10-6 and whatever. So they would, and Ray Lewis and Ed Reed would tell them like, look, if you can, if basically if you can give us 13 points or 14 points a game, we're gonna hold these teams to 10 points. You know what I'm saying? Well, we're gonna hold these teams to 7 points almost on every game. So I think that to me, Cleveland defense is not good enough to, I think, to run through the gauntlet of and I know they trying not to say the AFC ain't is not as good as as the NFC. I beg to differ. You know what I'm saying? I think matter of fact, AFC is more physical than NFC. NFC got finesse teams. AFC got them dogs.
Now they are. We ain't gonna say they always been. Now they are.
No.
Because I can remember when Cowboys, Eagles, and Redskins had top tier defenses.
Yeah. But I'm saying right now, the AFC they play more physical to me than the NFC does. More except for like Kansas City. Kansas City plays finesse.
I just don't think the AFC defense is where they're supposed to be at, bro. I just think they may have maybe 3 or 4 standout players that put them above the rest, but I also look at it as any given Sunday, bro. Any given Sunday, you know what I mean? So with that being said, man, hey man, all I know is this right here, bro.
So who you got? What's your picks?
Pick for what the I kind of agree with everything you said, but I kind of think that Buffalo is suspect when it comes to championship games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, of course, Kansas City gonna be there.
I will say this about Buffalo. I think Buffalo is one of those teams where at times Buffalo one of those teams, them in Cleveland, seem like they have to play so hard to win a game. Buffalo seem like they have to play like Buffalo game, they gonna really beat you off of talent. Buffalo gonna have to beat you off of grit and grind and just like it seems like they have to play so hard to win a game. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. You know, it seems like it's like Cleveland, it's like the same way. It's like nothing comes easy. You used to watch some teams and it's like sometimes with Green Bay, like it comes easy to them, or Tampa or Kansas City. With Buffalo and Cleveland, it's like they got to play so hard to win a game. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. That's why they had all these close games. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like they got to play so hard to win them. You know what I mean? So I think that may take a toll on them by the time they would get to an AFC Championship game, because I'm still Buffalo. I'm still kind of I'm leaning to see what Ravens gonna do when they pick up all these running backs, because I've never seen a team lose all their running backs, but they did pick up some good running backs.
So let's talk about that. What are running backs have they picking up?
Le'Veon Bell, Devontae Freeman, and my boy Latavius Murray. So they picked up all they signed all three.
Okay. So the question is, since we're talking about running backs, what do you see Todd Gurley going?
Probably to one of these teams that I would say maybe because somebody else just got hurt. I think it was another running back that just got hurt or whatever. So it's kind of hard to say because it depends on what teams lose their running backs, lose a running back. So it's hard to say with Todd Gurley, because I think it has to be a team that's kind of, because with his knee situation, it's going to have to be a team that's going to feel a little desperate to need a running back there. So it's kind of hard to say where he's going to end up.
Hold. We can't blame it on the knee situation, man. The knee situation being gone, bro. Like he had that injury when he was in LA, but I don't even see why the Falcons cut him, man. Atlanta, you can't cut no damn body. Nobody, Atlanta. You should go. Right. Atlanta, you should just go get. You should get a Nerf football team running back, because I don't know what's wrong with Atlanta, man. Atlanta can't win nothing, man.
Well,
they don't even know how to close up a Ziploc bag, bro.
Ever since the Super Bowl, they psyche been thrown off. Ever since that Super Bowl, they ain't recovered. But before we got 5 minutes left, so I want to get into this NFC side. So
okay, go ahead.
Of course, this is how I got it broken down. I got Washington, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, the Rams winning their division. I got the wild cards I got is San Francisco, Seattle, and Arizona. Now, I'm gonna say this because I know you about to say something. I will say this. I do give Dallas a chance because Dallas' schedule is very weak. So I will give them a chance.
Here
But
we
to
go.
me,
Here we
but
go,
me,
bro. Here we go.
but me and my
Here
soul,
we go.
I
Here we
just can't
go,
put them in
man.
there.
You
I can't put them
you
in there.
is a hey, bro.
I'm a hater. I'm a hater.
Hey, bro.
I can't put them in there.
Hey, man. I'm gonna start calling you Stephen A. Smith because you is a hater.
You're
You
right.
is
I'm a
a
hater when it
hater.
because
Not,
you sound like
not a hater.
Swagoo. You sound like
You a hater.
Swagoo right now. You sound like Swagoo right now.
Man, you a
So
hater,
yeah,
man. Hey,
you
man,
right.
look here,
When it
man.
comes to the Dallas Cowboys, I'm hating. I'm
Listen,
hating.
listen, man. Dallas Cowboys fan can be in the grocery store not saying nothing. Y'all always got something to say. What you got that hat
You
on
right.
for? It's my damn business why I got this hat on.
You
You
right.
know what I
You
mean?
right. I want the people to do it too.
So I'm gonna say Dallas gonna win this division, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna say Dallas is gonna win this division because Fitzpatrick ain't gonna be able to pick it up. Y'all got fast ass receivers, a fast running back, and y'all don't have a slow down offense, bro. And he's a slow down quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, everybody else you said, man, I can agree with that. But who, man, I think the Rams. Like the first mistake I'm gonna say they did, man, is they shouldn't have got rid of Gurley, bro. No way, shape, fashion, or form, bro. Like you can't possibly give a person that much money then get rid of him. To me, that's dumb. You know. And I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna say this right here, man. That a lot of people like Devontae Adams, you know, but a lot of people feel like that Devontae don't like drama, and so if Aaron Rodgers keep bringing that drama, he gonna leave. But when it comes to the East, man, and who's gonna be in the Super Bowl, man, it's a toss up with me, man, because I just can't say Tom Brady. I just can't say Tom Brady.
Right now,
I just can't say Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I they the champs right
they
now.
They are the champions.
So I'm gonna put Tampa and Kansas City today. I'm gonna put Tampa Bay and Kansas today, and I'm gonna put Kansas City winning the championship this year. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. But I will say this: I feel like by the time we get to we already said we're gonna revisit this halfway through the season once we kind of see everything lay out, the lay of the land. So I do feel like my picks may change. They may change. But right now, even though I can't stand Tom Brady, he the GOAT, and I just feel like, you can't bet against the man. And I think Patrick Mahomes, the way he coming, the thing that's gonna hurt Kansas City is their defense. Their defense is sometimes suspect.
Listen, man.
But other than that, he's
Mahomes,
the one quarterback that can overcome it.
Patrick Mahomes, let me tell you something, bro. The Tampa Bay defense exposed him, bro. He ain't like people think, bro. He ain't like people. These defensive coordinators ain't make no adjustments when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. That defensive coordinator for Tampa made a lot of adjustments during that Super Bowl, bro. And
the offensive line was out too. You got to give it that. Offensive line was out too. But I hate to cut you off. But we the end of the show. We got an hour, but we got all season to argue this. So we at the end of the hour. I appreciate you. I appreciate CEV Sports for letting us have this platform. I appreciate everybody watching it now and gonna watch this later on or whatever. And we got some some major stuff coming up for everybody as we move forward. And y'all just keep supporting. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. So this is your boy Icon with your boy the great Jacob the Great. So
Jacob the Great.
Yep. See y'all next week. Same times, same bat station. We out of here.
Peace.